about the news in Saints land today, and that came from Ian Rappaport, who obviously covers the NFL nationally for NFL Network and NFL.com. And he had a tweet that he fired off earlier today about Derek Carr's future over the next 3 weeks. The tweet read, sources say Saints quarterback Derek Carr underwent further examination recently, and he's at least a few weeks away from being able to withstand contact. With 3 weeks remaining, a return this season is described as very unlikely. Carr has been out with a left hand that had been fractured in 2 different places. So that's what Ian Rappaport had to say with NFL.com. Nick Underhill of New Orleans.football writes, and speaking with multiple sources, that Derek Carr's return this season has not been ruled out, that he's continued to work and continuing to try. I told you when we found out Derek Carr got hurt, that he was going to do everything he could to get back on the field. That's just the way Derek Carr is wired. It's admirable. It's predictable in his case. He's been a professional for more than a decade in the NFL. We know last year he went out there when he shouldn't have been out there and tried to gut through it and played very, very poorly because he was in immense amounts of pain last season, but he played through it and eventually healed up, and he played much better later in the season. This year, when he got hurt, he simply could not throw a football, so it wasn't an option for him to come back and play, and that's why you saw Spencer Rattler get those 3 starts. But that's just the way Derek Carr is wired. And it's very, very admirable, as I said, for a guy that's making that kind of money to feel like, hey, the organization is invested in me, my teammates are here, I've got to do everything in my capability to get on the football field, because that's not the way everyone approaches this thing. It's just not. But it is the way that Derek Carr handles himself. And so this was predictable in terms of his effort to get back on the field. Here's the deal. Don't. Just don't. There's no need for Derek Carr to force himself to come back with a broken hand to play for a team that has no weapons on its offense, no playoff hopes, and no reason to send an aging quarterback out there that's compromised. It just doesn't make any sense. Again, I understand his sentiment, but I'm overruling it here. I realize he'll probably take that into consideration, what the guy 2 hours down the road had to say about his availability. But that's my take. There's no need for Derek Carr to go back out there and play. So here's the deal for New Orleans. In the meantime, while he's deciding whether or not he's going to play, because he's not going to play this weekend, what did the Saints do? We know when Carr initially went out in Kansas City that Haener was the backup. He was more equipped to go in with a Derek Carr game plan and try to operate the system. When they had then a week to prepare for the next game, Spencer Rattler was the more intriguing prospect, the guy they felt best about going out there and giving them a chance to win. Yes, the offensive line was banged up. Yes, Taysom Hill was out. Yes, their wide receiver weapons weren't very good. All of that we know to be the truth. But they felt like Spencer Rattler gave him the best chance, and it didn't go very well. The Saints lost all 3 games. He was inconsistent. He looked at times erratic and confused. It didn't go well. And Derek Carr returned to the lineup, and then he got hurt, and they sent Haener back out there because we know that he's the backup quarterback. When they've got a game plan in for Derek Carr, they put Haener in there. But then they had a decision to make last week. Okay, well, what do we do? Now we've got a week to prepare, and they went with Haener. And I don't know whether or not they went with Haener because they thought he gave them the best chance to win. Something had changed from the time they went to Spencer Rattler. Maybe those 3 games that Rattler started were evidence enough that Haener deserved a shot. Maybe they just wanted to split it down the middle. We gave Spencer his shot. Now we'll give Jake his shot. They're both later round draft picks. They're both working off the league minimum. Neither has proven himself to be the future of the franchise. We just feel like it's an equitable shot to go with Haener because we gave Spencer the first 3 starts there when Derek Carr went down. This time around, this week, there should be no discussion. It should be Spencer Rattler. 100 times out of 100. Because Jake Haener didn't do anything to warrant a start after that appearance last week. And Spencer Rattler, while he hasn't done much to warrant a start, the 4 straight scoring drives and the talent means it's time to give Spencer Rattler the keys to this thing for a couple of weeks. Now let me let me reach here a little bit. I'm fully aware that I'm reaching, but I'm going to reach. Spencer Rattler needs to start the last 3 games of this season. That's what needs to happen. And the reason for that is because I don't care about the equitable nature of giving Rattler 3 starts in this absence of Carr and then giving Haener some starts. And this is not 6th grade basketball where everybody gets to play a quarter. This is the National Football League. This is the future of a franchise that we're talking about. And the Saints are in their most significant inflection point in 20 years. You had the run from 5 all the way to a few years ago when Breeze retired, and there wasn't really an inflection point there. Yeah, they had the 7 and 9s, and they overhauled the roster for the chemistry and all that, but your core and your pillars were there. Your coach was there. Your quarterback was there. Your coach is gone. You don't even know who it's going to be, and you don't really know who your quarterback is beyond next year. If there is a modicum of a chance that Spencer Rattler can be that guy, you've got to give it this free opportunity. You've now got an opportunity where the wins and losses don't matter. The interceptions don't matter. The fumbles don't matter. The miscommunication doesn't matter. But if there's any chance that Rattler could find something here and play really good football over the course of 3 weeks, that could change the immediate future of the franchise. Again, I am reaching. I would bet against this significantly because I don't feel like right now Spencer Rattler is the future of the franchise, but it's possible. And there is no better way to change the fortunes of your franchise than to find a quarterback on a rookie deal that can do the job. And the Saints never do that. Never, never, never. But this is an opportunity maybe to let it try to happen. And I'm not a quarterback whisperer or a guru, and nobody pays me to break down film or be a consultant for him in the quarterback room. I am well aware. But I have not seen anything out of Jake Haener that gives me any inclination that he could be the Saints quarterback for the next 5 years. Nothing. And while it's been few and far between with Rattler, there's at least something there. You've now gotten to a point, unfortunately, where your quarterback's hurt and your playoff chances are done. Give him a month to try and see what you got. This is preseason, come to regular season. They're free reps. Just give them to Rattler and see what happens. If he fails, which is likely, whatever. If he's mediocre, which is likely, he might be a good backup for you. If there's a small chance that he's pretty good next week and then great against the Raiders and great in Tampa, there's something there you might be able to cling to. And it's worth a look. We talk about this all the time. Like, quarterbacks are so hard to come by. Y'all know this as Saints fans. You've had one your entire life. So if you've got a chance to get a quarterback on a rookie deal, and you've got a chance to move on from Derek Carr after next year, and you've got a chance to move forward and create all that flexibility with your salary cap that you never had because you've been paying your quarterback astronomical amounts of money for 20 years, isn't it worth a look? I feel bad for continuing to toss this disclaimer in it, but I feel like it's necessary. Like, I know it's a long shot, but why not try? And that's the only way to try, in my opinion, is with Spencer Rattler here. So that's my take on the entirety of the situation. I would toss the keys to Rattler, tell Derek Carr to keep that cast on his hand, and we'll see in minicamp. That's where I am on the Saints and their quarterback situation. Beck, is it an absolute waste of time to consider the fact that Spencer Rattler might be the quarterback of the Saints in the foreseeable future?
No, I don't think so. The only thing I would say in opposition to that would be the idea that you draft a quarterback in this next draft and Derek Carr starts again next year, and you have your quarterback in waiting, quote unquote, and then you go from there after next year and move on from Carr and start whoever. Maybe you can keep. Maybe you can keep
I
Rattler.
just don't know if they're going to draft a quarterback in the middle rounds 3 years in a row.
Yeah, maybe not. But like you said, I mean, you have to have.
And again, I was for that. Probably the last 2 years, but at this point, like, it's time to start drafting guys that can play. And quarterbacks usually can't play.
Yeah,
you've done it with 2 of them. You got 2 lottery tickets here. The odds are most lottery tickets end up in the garbage, but you might have one that hits. And so you got to start taking guys in the draft that you need to start hitting on some 5th-round picks that can play defensive tackle for you. You need a hit on a 5th-round pick that can be a safety. You need Marcus Williams. You need, I mean, y'all know the names, but like that's where I am from their drafting perspective. The draft is so vital to what they're trying to do now. For them to toss another pick potentially in the trash can with a quarterback, just go with Rattler. See.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree fully. They have to start Carr next year. Like they just have no choice in terms of the money. That after next year, they can probably move on, even though they're going to have to eat some of it. But I still think that there is a possibility that they do go and draft on their quarterback next year, just because of Jake Haener probably obviously not being in terms of, and I think we both agree that he's not going to be going to be around long term. So. I would definitely start Rattler for the rest of the season, but that's up to the Saints and Derek Carr, and like you said, Carr is going to play if he can. So
I feel bad like taking Jake Haener and saying one half of football is like
we've seen more than one half.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen some preseason stuff, you've seen some reserve stuff. None of it's in ideal situations, but I just don't see anything that's going to lead me to believe that there's anything there.
I mean, it was a completely opposite terms for the offense. It just looked it completely flipped in the second half when they played Rattler.
Crazy.
There's no way of not seeing it that way.
Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.